All right, well, India has built one of the world's largest railway networks. Every day, nearly 2.5 crore passengers travel across the country on trains powered either by diesel or electricity. Over the last decade, Indian Railways has electrified thousands of kilometers of tracks, making its network cleaner and more efficient. But now India is preparing for what could be the next major technological leap in rail transport. A train that doesn't run on diesel, doesn't depend on overhead electric wires, and yet is powered entirely by electricity. Sounds impossible, right? Well, not anymore. India's first hydrogen powered train is set to make that a reality. It is a project that puts India amongst a handful of countries exploring hydrogen as a fuel for the future. But how exactly does a hydrogen train work? Why is it considered a breakthrough? How is it different from the trains we already travel in? And could this be the future of Indian railways? Here's everything you need to know. A hydrogen train is, in simple terms, an electric train. The only difference is where it gets its electricity from. Conventional electric trains receive power through overhead wires, while diesel trains burn fuel inside massive engines. A hydrogen train does neither. Instead, it carries hydrogen gas in specially designed high-pressure tanks and produces electricity on board while it is moving. Think of it as a train carrying its own mobile power station. Inside the train is a device known as hydrogen fuel cell, and this fuel cell combines hydrogen stored on board with oxygen taken from the surrounding air. The chemical reaction between the two generates electricity, which immediately powers electric motors connected to the train's wheels. Unlike diesel engines, nothing is burned, there is no combustion, no smoke and no harmful exhaust gases. The only byproducts of the entire process are water vapor and a small amount of heat. That is why hydrogen trains are considered among the cleanest forms of rail transport available anywhere in the world. India's first hydrogen-powered train will initially run on the Jind-Sonipat section of Northern Railway in Haryana, I beg your pardon. This route has been selected as a pilot project to test how hydrogen technology performs under Indian conditions before it is expanded to other parts of the country. The train will cover a distance of approximately 90 kilometers and is expected to complete the journey in around 2 hours. It will consist of 10 passenger coaches with a total carrying capacity of nearly 2,600 passengers. The train has a maximum design speed of around 110 kilometers per hour, while its operational speed is expected to remain around 75 kilometers per hour, making it comparable to existing regional passenger services. If the pilot succeeds, Indian Railways could deploy hydrogen trains on several non-electrified routes where running diesel locomotives is still the norm. Building a hydrogen train, however, is not cheap. Hydrogen technology requires specialized fuel cells, high-pressure hydrogen storage tanks, sophisticated safety systems and dedicated refueling infrastructure. Indian Railways has invested approximately 180 crores in the project, and this amount includes the development of the train itself, hydrogen production facilities, refueling stations, storage systems and all associated infrastructure. At present, the cost is significantly higher than that of conventional diesel trains. But experts believe that as hydrogen production becomes cheaper and domestic manufacturers increase, costs will gradually reduce. Similar trends have already been seen in renewable energy technologies like solar power and electric vehicles. And from the outside, India's first hydrogen train will look very similar to a modern passenger train. It features streamlined coaches and modern styling, much like the latest Demu or Memu trains. The real difference lies beneath the body and inside the power coaches. Instead of housing a large diesel engine, the train carries hydrogen storage cylinders, fuel cell stacks, batteries and sophisticated power electrics. Inside, passengers may hardly notice any difference. The coaches will offer comfortable seating, bright interiors, passenger information systems and a smooth travel experience. In fact, hydrogen trains are significantly quieter than diesel locomotives because they are powered by electric motors. That means less vibration, reduced noise and a more comfortable journey for passengers. Many people wonder why India needs hydrogen trains when it already has electric trains. The answer lies in infrastructure. Conventional electric trains depend entirely on overhead electric wires. Constructing and maintaining these wires across every railway line is expensive, especially in remote areas. Mountainous terrain, forests and routes with low passenger traffic, hydrogen trains solve this problem because they generate electricity on board. They can operate on railway tracks that have no overhead electrification at all. That makes them an ideal replacement for diesel locomotives rather than electric trains. India's hydrogen train is not competing with electric railways. It is designed to replace diesel-powered services operating on non-electrified routes. So what exactly happens inside a hydrogen train? Well, the science is fascinating. Hydrogen gas is stored in reinforced high-pressure tanks mounted safely on the train. Oxygen from the atmosphere enters the hydrogen fuel cell stack. Inside the fuel cell, hydrogen molecules are split into protons and electrons. The electrons travel through an external circuit, creating electricity. That electricity powers the train's electric traction motors, which rotate the wheels. Any excess electricity generated is stored in onboard lithium-ion batteries. These batteries help during acceleration and also capture energy generated while braking, making the train even more efficient. The entire propulsion system operates silently without combustion, producing only clean water vapor as the exhaust. Since hydrogen is highly flammable, the train incorporates multiple layers of safety, including hydrogen leak detectors, fire detection system, pressure monitoring equipment, automatic emergency shut-off valves, and advanced ventilation systems to ensure passenger safety. India is not the first country to experiment with hydrogen-powered railways. Germany became the world's first nation to introduce commercially operating hydrogen passenger trains with the Alstom Coradia Elint, which now runs on regional railway routes, replacing diesel services. France has also ordered hydrogen-powered regional trains as part of its clean transport program. Italy is introducing hydrogen trains on selected railway corridors where electrification is not economically feasible. Japan continues to test hydrogen commuter trains as part of its long-term carbon neutrality goals, while China has developed hydrogen-powered trams and urban rail systems. In the United States, railway companies are testing hydrogen locomotives for both passenger and freight operations around the world. Hydrogen is increasingly being viewed as a practical alternative wherever electrification is difficult or prohibitively expensive. As India continues to invest in green hydrogen under the National Green Hydrogen Mission, the cost for producing clean hydrogen is expected to fall significantly. If that happens, hydrogen-powered trains would become a common sight across India for decades to come. In fact, it's innovative, it's sustainable, and India's first hydrogen train is not just about changing how trains run, it is about changing the future of rail transportation itself. Dr. Ram Srivastav, space scientist, with us on the program. Dr. Srivastav, always a pleasure having you, sir. So, please take us through as why you believe it is important for India to migrate and graduate to hydrogen engines, and how is that going to, in fact, also take care of the biggest problem that India has to deal with, which is pollution?
Obviously, pollution is a very big problem. And besides this, everybody knows that after the year 2075, there will be no fossil fuel, there will be no coal, there will be no crude oil available in the stomach of the earth. At that what time, at 2075, what will happen to the energy crisis? So we will have to search out alternative sources. One of the alternative sources is the solar energy. But solar energy cannot be available around the clock. Undoubtedly, there are countries which are working from the space to reflect the sunlight to generate solar power, but that will not be useful. For immediate requirement, such type of new innovative approaches of running the railway train with the help of the hydrogen fuel is very, very interesting and very important, and is very successful in Germany. I've seen it personally, and I know that it can be a good replacement of diesel engines and steam engines. Steam age has gone back. There was a time when the steam engines were utilized. Their speed was very slow. Coal was used to burn, to develop the steam, and those were used to, even today, there are certain examples where in the hilly areas, these engines are available as a antique. Now, the time has come when the diesel engine are to be given by and the alternative engines are to be developed. Electricity is undoubtedly very useful, but to develop more power as the population and the advancement of the civilization is increasing, more and more electricity is required. So another alternative for producing electricity is your nuclear energy, and nuclear fusion energy may be one of the answers, because as every country, particularly developed countries, Russia, America, and China, and they are moving towards the moon to collect the helium-3 isotope. Once helium-3 isotope is collected, fusion power reactors will be developed. But those fusion power reactors will again require the electricity, high tension wire over the railway track. So that may be one alternative, but it's not the only answer. Advantages of these hydrogen fuel railway engines is that the powerhouse is there and it is producing. But what are the side effects? What are the precautions to be taken? They compress the air. Is there consumption of oxygen is there? And there are chances, because of the very high pressure in the cylinder of hydrogen, I may get exploded at the time of any accident. That may cause a very, 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 very dangerous side effect. But all precautions are being taken into account. Artificial intelligence is used, sensors are applied. It is one of the latest design of which our country is now making a demonstration in the Haryana, and we are very much sure this will be very successful. And in the near future, practically all over the track of the Indian Railway, which is one of the largest railway track in the world, this may be replaced, but the possibility will take some time after successful prototype experiment which is being done in Haryana.
All right, sir. Always a pleasure having you, sir. Thank you so much for speaking with us. We take a short break. Be right back.
देखिए, सिर्फ मेरे कहने पर टर्म इंश्योरेंस मत लीजिए।